Welcome to Walker Tea Review with a tea that we're going to be exploring, considering, a tea that is more, I would say, different in that a lot of my teas recently have been Chinese, Taiwanese, so it's good to have step away from that for a while and get something different. And Assam. I haven't done a lot of Assams. I look more, generally and this is my bias, I admit, but generally I find more nuance in Chinese, Taiwanese, Japanese teas than I do with a lot. Darjeelings to a certain degree too. I find more to nuance to pick apart in a Darjeeling as well. Assams, especially if you're a newer tea drinker, it can be a challenge to find as much to distinguish between different Assams. But what you see I've got is a taster's cup. My water's been brought to a boil. It's been cooling. It's a very low boil. It's been cooling for about a minute. I put in enough tea to cover the bottom surface of my taster's cup here. I'm adding enough water, so a little bit, just about a quarter of an inch above the, so the water level is just about a quarter of an inch below the pouring opening there. Put my lid on. Lid has a hole for airflow, so you get a smoother pour. And I want that hole to be over here towards my lid. So while that's sitting and steeping, I'm going to introduce this tea. Talk about the Lochan Tea Company. This is their SreeSibbari. Let me make sure I've pronounced that correctly. Yes, SreeSibbari. STGFOP. Okay, it's a clonal. It's a second flush, 2011. It's an Assam, as I mentioned before. So what we want to look at here is the dry leaf, the wet leaf, and the liquor. Starting a little bit with the dry here. I often find Assams, you may be more familiar with Assams, especially with blends. A lot of Irish breakfast blends have Assams. English breakfast, black tea blends will often contain some Assam. I'm detecting, and with an Assam you get rich aromas. I'm getting peach jam, apricot jam, a sweet, rich, slightly tangy aspect to it. And underneath that, every once in a while I'll detect a little whiff of something that is bismuth or almost minty type of, a light cooling type of aspect there. So that's present here. Looking at these leaves, I'm going to use my spoon for that. I'm going to scoop out just a little bit here, kind of flatten them out, spread them out a little bit on my spoon. Looking down at this scoop here, I do see golden tips, which is nice. Most of it, of course, is a seal or a bister type brownish gray color. For the most part, a lot of these portions are less than half an inch in length, although you have some that teeter on between the inch and a half and 1 inch in length. Most of them are the smaller pieces, suggesting that you're not necessarily getting whole leaves in this. You're getting portions of leaves. The gold elements that I mentioned there, I'm going to say that makes up 10 to 15%. They are fuzzy, so they do look like nice golden tips. Not necessarily the full tip. Because I don't see all the way down to the actual stem of that tip that connected to the branch of the tea plant. So, having said that, I'm going to go ahead, move on to the actual pouring and talking. I'm going to actually move this. I'm going to move this forward, and I'm going to get a smoother pour. I'm going to use my towel because using a taster's cup can get too dribbly. So, and speed is of the essence here. You want to get a nice smooth pour. You want the water to come through the opening rather than dripping down the length of the cup, as if you hold that parallel to the ground, to the table there, it's just going to drip or run down the side. So So that was a nice, actually a very smooth pour. So we'll let that sit there. Let me get ready to kind of smell this tea and talk about the wet leaf. So I'm going to move this back a little bit. And first give it a smell here. Now, aromas here, still rich, still sweet. It's more of a, there's some raisin bran type of smell coming in. So it's got a bit of a toasted heat. The steam is tickling my nose too, but yeah, there's some heat there. There's imagine like a wheat bran type of flake that's been in the oven just a little bit extra time, so it's a little bit extra dark. That's kind of what's happening here. A piece of toast that's on the verge of burning. There's a little bit of that kind of heat note, combined with still the raisin aspect there, like I mentioned, of that raisin bran. The jammy peach apricot type smells have fallen by the wayside. A little bit of brown sugar notes coming out. So these are richer, darker, sweet elements there. Now, to look at the leaves, the taster's cup was designed for that purpose. So you turn it over, you give it a shake, your leaves collect there and catch on the top of the lid, and you rest it right up there, and then you can see now our leaves have become a brighter brownish red, closer to a rust, richer in that aspect. It's still a thick, wet type of mass here. It is difficult to pull out individual leaves. The ones that are leaves that have kind of the larger portions that have unfurled, if you unfurl them, open them up, kind of gently pull them open. These are olive drab type colors with the blotchy, kind of a thin veneer of rust element. There a tinge of rust redness there as well. It looks like there's some stem portions here and there that you can find pretty easily. Those needle portions, again, they're more challenging to find because the colors have become more consistent, and so I don't see anything really jumping out as a fully intact needle from tip to base, where it's actually connected again to the tea bush. So, moving then along then to talk about the liquor. Give it a kind of swirl here. Hold it up. Color has become a rich reddish, almost reddish purple. So think of a darker reddish purple plum type of color. There's some of that in there, in that brown, reddish brown there too. So give it a smell here. Smells are fairly light. You might get a tinge of like a grape skin, a little bit of the tannin element kind of coming out. You can get light undertones of a brown sugar type sweetness there too. So good brightness or good color there in the pitcher. And as I pour here, same thing, good clear colors. It's not murky, it's not cloudy, it's not dull. Let's give it a sip. Like teas, like Assams, they're built for people who want briskness, who want puckery, who want that kick to the teeth type of feel. This has got some of that. Brown sugar notes still there, still an underlying sweetness. It's getting dominated. It's being controlled by that briskness, that astringent element there. This is like a big wad of grape skins. You peel the grape, you throw away the meat, you bite into a whole bunch of the red grape skins. Some of that going on here. Aftertaste, again, that smooths out though. This is where you get some of the tart, lightly tart, sweet tart type of peach, stone fruit, apricot, sticky aftertaste going on here. Nice in that sense. So I would look at this tea as an Assam, and I would say that this tasting turned out better than some of my previous off-camera tastings. This time it just came out a little richer. I might attribute that to slightly cooler water steeping, water temperature, with the steep time, yeah, about the same, I would say. So this tea would get it gets a good score because the astringency, it doesn't overpower. The aftertaste isn't just bland, empty, dry sawdust in your mouth type of feel. This has got some, like I said, some sweetness there, not off-putting, not an unwelcome menthol bismuth type feel there as well. So I would give this tea I'm stuck here. Probably going to give this tea an 89. Nice qualities, pleasant to drink as it is, which is not always easy to say. So before I forget, I should also mention, in case I didn't, 100 grams available for roughly $7. I don't think I mentioned that. It's priced in Indian rupees, which there's an exchange rate roughly right now around $7. So come back to Walker Tea Review to explore teas, taste them along with us. Go ahead and purchase a tea, taste it along to see if you can find the things that I find in a tea as well.